Hello, we're still out there. Hello, Future Bestsellers. We are super, super glad to see you today. Good morning. I'm Lisa Daly, and with me, as always, is the fabulous and talented Michelle Schusterman. Uh, Hi, Robert is not with us today. He has an emergency vet issue with his kitty cat, and so we're all going to send good kitty cat wishes. So let's do our intros really fast. I'm sorry, I'm kind of a spaz today. I have to tell you, we have family in town staying today, and I'm awfully excited today because we have a baby coming.
Ooh,
I know. So I'm anxious to get my little fingers on there's nothing better than like that new baby smell, is there?
no.
No.
It's a very good smell.
It really is. They're adorable. Anyway, so go ahead. Let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. You go ahead and go first because, why not?
I'm the only one. Hi, I'm Michelle Schusterman. I'm a young adult and middle grade author. My channel is writing workshops, traditional publishing chat, and writing blogs.
Thank you, as
Thank
always, for
you.
being here. I'm Lisa Daly, and if you want to write a book you're super proud of and get it published, this is an awesome place to start. And we are going to be doing some fantastic writing sprints this morning. I am super ready to go. I have not written for 2 weeks because I was on vacation and then I came back and I was sick.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to get like back into the swing of things. Let's say hi to our friends in the chat. Laura's here. Hello, Laura. Good morning. Good morning from California for Mary. I'm so proud of you for being out of bed and getting this done. So yay. So happy to see you. Hi, Stacy. Glad you're here today. Daisy's here. Hello. We are super happy you're here today. Cool Gamers here. Hello. Glad to see you. Susan's here. Hi, Susan. We're very glad. I am not pregnant. No. No. A family member has just had a brand new baby. So yeah, so we're excited about that. And this is the first time we're meeting said baby. His name is Sterling. I'm so excited. All right. So yeah, not pregnant. Wait. Although I could be like, no. That was me not being pregnant. Although I have I do like pasta, so sometimes it's hard to tell. Okay. Hi, doll. We are super glad to see you here today. I hope you're doing well. Amy's here. Hello. Devin's here. Hello. We're super glad to see you today. I'm very curious to find out what everybody's going to be working on today. Doll's going to be working on a short story outline. Good for you. Very nice. Oh, yeah. So, Daisy, I actually had done this too,
Oh,
just like
wow.
for fun to see what it would say about a new book. And it does make up like it was a real book and it was one of mine. I'm like, what would it say about the book? Because I made the assumption it would pull from other things, but Chat GPT like that their database is a couple of years old. And so they're not seeing the information from a book that just was recently released. And so what it tries to do is just make up a story based on the title and whatever else it knows, which is kind of fascinating because it sounds like it's real, but it is not. So
Yeah.
due diligence is yes, absolutely. Oh, Susan. Well, we're very, very glad that you are here today. We'll try and make it extra productive just for you. And yeah, we're going to do that. Loved your video
Oh.
on Barbenheimer. I have not seen that yet, but I'm excited to do that. But I will say I just went to see Barbie yesterday.
And what
Let's
did
see if
you
I can.
think?
I thought it was awesome and that every single person should see it. I mean, I thought it was just absolutely incredible. Let's see if I can do this, if I can
I have
share
to
the
say,
screen.
watching all the behind the scenes stuff on it.
That's me.
Oh,
My daughter was like, "You have to wear pink," and I was like, "Okie dokie, I'm all in." So,
that, I mean,
I'm
come
sorry. So
on.
you were saying
She knows
about
who she's talking to.
yeah, exactly right. Well, she knew I'd be up for it too. So I was like, "Yes, I will change my clothes before we go to this movie." And I really wanted to go see it, but obviously I was going to see it with my daughter, and she already had plans to see it with like her friends. They did like a whole sleepover and they built a pillow fort, which is kind of awesome. And I would have gone to see it sooner, except as I mentioned earlier, I was sick. So
Mm.
it was so good. Oh my god, did you cry through the whole, like, not through the whole thing, but parts of it? There were crying
You,
parts in there.
yeah, I've heard a lot of people have teared up at certain scenes.
Yes. I can attest to that, pretty much the entire theater. So it was
Aw.
kind of awesome. All right, I'm cool. I'm excited to see that video. Kanashi, did it just start? Yes, we just got here. You made it on
Hey,
time. Yay! We're super
perfect
glad.
timing.
All right, let us know in the chat what you guys are going to be working on today. Susan will be brainstorming and planning a short story today. Mary's going to be working on a detailed outline for Tricked, which is her new book. I'm super excited that she's working on. Super excited. It's a very cool book. Avi's here. Doing client work today. Had Korean class earlier this morning, so I'm already tired.
Mm,
That I'm sure that is very taxing for for your brain. First thing in the morning, language lesson, I'd be like,
right?
tapped out, baby. I'm done. 9:30. Yes, it's all finished for the day. I also asked GPT for book recommendations, and it's given me titles that don't exist.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yes, right? I'll be writer Barbie. So, yeah, it was fun. Hi, Byron. We are super, super glad to see you. Gonna join on in a bit. We've got he's starting or they're starting their third draft. Also saw Barbie and loved it. Right. It was awesome. And Amy's got a new project proposal going. Very, very nice. Sounds like everybody has lots and lots of stuff to do. So, what are you going to be working on, Michelle?
Today I am working on my middle grade mystery revision. I have been kind of swamped with work. Oh my gosh, Lisa, since you weren't here last week, I didn't get to tell you. Guess what? I
What?
got a nonfiction book deal.
What?
Yeah.
That
I'm
is
so excited I
awesome.
know this. I can't wait to tell Lisa about this because I might have some questions. But it's for have you heard of a brand called Rebel Girls?
Mhm.
They have like it's like girls empowerment books and a podcast.
Yes.
And so I'm going to be writing. They have a guidebook series that just launched, and I'm going to be writing one of the guidebooks that's coming out next summer. So I've been working on that too.
Yay! That
Yeah,
is awesome.
it's
Very, very nice.
super fun so far.
I have a question for you about
Cheers.
that. Are
Okay.
you going to use are you going to use Michelle Schusterman, or are you going to
Yes.
do something like M. Schusterman?
Nope. My name. I didn't know it was the kind of thing where I would get any kind of credit. I thought it was going to be like ghostwriting and that their books were published under Rebel Girls. But in fact, I looked at them and the editor confirmed that it's like by author name and Rebel Girls. So my name
Okay.
will be on the cover and everything.
Yay, that's awesome. Just give some thought to whether you want to do like Michelle Schusterman or like Michelle X Schusterman,
Mhm.
because remember that it's in particular with like Amazon, that's just a big algorithm and you do not want to mess up your recommendations. I
That's
have all my books under Lisa Daily. I wish I had split them out and just
mm,
so something to
interesting.
consider.
It
Even
is.
even if it's just something that it just changes your and again, it's however you there are plenty of authors who have all their books under one name and plenty that do it the other way, but definitely think about it. That is something I
Yeah,
wish somebody had brought up to me, so I at least would have contemplated it before I started.
very, very good point. Thank you.
I
Hmm.
have to put I was gonna do our 5-minute thing. My writing office is pink, it's next to the beach, I write
I
What?
mean,
You
you are
just
living the Barbie life already.
you just completely made my day right there. I went like, that is hilarious. I totally love that. Love, 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 love that. Uh, how do I say this? How do I pronounce your name? Will you give us a phonetic pronunciation, please? Is it Evas? Evas? Is
And tell us the last name too, because that's cool.
it is cool. I'm not even gonna
Butchkin.
try that.
I love seeing a CKCH in a row.
I know, right?
That's awesome.
Hello, though. We are super, super glad to see you. So very, very nice. Amy says, cue the confetti. Wait, you know what you get? Oh my gosh. How could I have even forgotten? I'm a,
Thank you.
Yay, we're so proud of you. I must be off my game today. How could I you know how much I love our
Right?
1974 audience, right? So, yes, exactly. Well, I'm super proud of you. I think it's gonna be out. Can you tell us what your guidebook's gonna be about or
They
no?
said I could tell, they're actually getting a cover together already, and once they have the cover, I can share.
Then you can share. All right. Well,
Yes.
that is exciting. Good for you.
Thanks.
Debbie's here. Hello, Debbie. I love to like there is definitely an advantage to doing a deal with like a book packager or sort of a company that has like a whole, the podcast and the
Mhm.
market. Really excellent. Susan says, "Congrats. We're super excited." Mary's like, "Woo, yay." Dreaming Truth author Felicia, hello. We are super glad to see you. Uh, yeah, suddenly Safari comes with a little dog pool float. True. I love that. Love, love, love that. Avi says Michelle's Lady Gaga today. She's living for the applause.
Yeah, I've
Absolutely.
never heard that before, thank you.
Eva Eva, this okay, Eva. So Eva, well, that makes things a lot easier. The second word means book corner or book channel in German. Oh,
Oh, I
I love
love that.
that. That is awesome. Well, speaking of stuff that's awesome, let's get some writing done today. We are
Yes.
going to get started with a 5-minute warm up sprint. Let me get that rolling here. Dun, dun, dun. All right. So I'm going to put 5 minutes up on the clock. If this is your first time sprinting with us, our sprints are generally 20 minutes long, but we do a 5-minute warm up sprint right here in the beginning. And you can get your documents open, figure out what you're going to work on, get your giant vat of tea or coffee or whatever you're drinking, and get yourself ready to go. All right, everybody. We are going to get started with our very first 5-minute warm up sprint in 3, 2, 1. Sprint. right. We are back. All right, let's do that. How'd you do on that last sprint, everybody? Let us know. How'd you do, Michelle?
Good. I got my goal for today is I have to rewrite the first 5 chapters of this book because the catalyst happens in chapter 5 and it needs to happen in chapter 2, and that,
Mm-hmm.
like, changes everything. So I have, like, a synopsis of what each new chapter is gonna be, and I've got that document open. I'm gonna expand it a little bit, print it out, and then get back to editing on paper.
Excellent. I know
Yeah.
there is something I always find it so helpful to edit on paper. It's such a different experience
Yeah.
than trying to edit on your computer screen. I feel like we talked about this before because
Mhm.
I always print them out and I actually save them. I have these manuscript cabinets in my office. I don't know if you can see them or not. Anyway, I have a manuscript cabinets in my office and they're just big enough to hold. They would probably hold like 2 reams of paper, but I always print out the version and then I always have like my mom or my dog, anybody in my family who's reading, like keep their notes
Mhm.
and everything, which is kind of special. Fantastic. Mary got 200 words on
Oh,
her outline.
what
Yay.
for 5 minutes? Good
I
lord.
know, right? Very nice. Rachel's here. Hello. We are super glad to see you today. Devin's here. Very glad to see you today. I am going to be working on a presentation that I'm giving at Orlando Reads Books.
Mm,
I'm giving a little talk there, so I'm excited. So that is
oh,
what I'll
fun.
be working on today. I'm
Love
ready to
it.
write. How about you?
I am
Let's
absolutely ready to go.
All right. Let's do a 20-minute sprint, you guys. Here we go. I know that wasn't much of a like, okay, here's your 5 minutes and now you have a break. But it's like 20 after. We got to get some going. We got to get some of this going today. All right, here we go. Let me go ahead and share the screen and we will get rolling on our first 20-minute sprint.
These are dirty.
Okay, here we go. All right, everybody. We are going to get rolling. 20 minutes on the clock in
Yay.
3, 2, 1. Let's cha cha. All right. Fantastic. Oh, let me get rid of this little banner we've got going here. So, how'd you do on that last sprint, everybody? Let us know. How'd you do, Michelle?
Good. I got those pages printed out and I'm kind of like putting them into the manuscript.
I totally get that. Ooh, there goes my mic's like boing boing. Um, yeah, I really was very productive. I did not realize how fast time had gone until I heard our little doo doo doo.
That was
So
a quick 20 minutes, indeed.
it was a super speedy 20 minutes. How did you guys do in the chat? Let us know. RC Scott is here. Hello, RC, and is working. Thank you very much. We are very happy to see you today. Rachel got my next Medium article pulled up, and I'm reviewing something for someone really quick. Good for you. Very nice. Rachel's going to be revising today, but getting a little admin tasks done first. So I find that fascinating. I tend to be the other way. I always like to write early in the morning and then
Mhm.
save my admin tasks for later, just because I feel like they don't require as much brain power. Although, unless I'm focusing on marketing, where I really want to, where I really want to give him my best brain of the day, then, then I'll do that in the morning. But I try really hard to do the more creative stuff in the morning. How about you? Does it matter to you whether you write in the morning? I know when we were going back and forth with word count that you were writing a ton in the morning and you would
Yes.
like a lot of times knock out your word count before I had even gotten started.
Yes.
Yes.
That tends to be like most days. I want to do all the creative stuff in the morning and save the little tasks for the afternoon. The only exception is like if I get a really bad night's sleep and I'm just
Hmm.
not with it in the morning, then I'll ease in with the
Right.
easier stuff. And like if I wake up later, do that work in the afternoon.
Yeah. So and I feel like there was something going on because I remember during that time when we were comparing word count back and forth, um being writing accountability buddies. That I had there was some reason why I was not writing in the morning, and I don't know if my daughter was sick or something like that. So
Mm.
but I always find that I'm most productive when I'm writing first thing in the morning. If I'm like trying to write at like 4 in the afternoon, I'm gonna need a lot of chocolate to power me through. Yeah.
Understood.
Gwenna the winner. 159 for that sprint. Yay, that's awesome. Got 1.6 before the what? Almost 1.6K before the stream, so I'm okay with that slowing down. Very nice. Kanashi decided on knitting and plotting. Love, love,
Fun.
love that. LM, love that.
Mm.
LM just
So,
joined. Hi, we are super glad to see you today. I'm so happy you're here. Rachel's most likely to be interrupted in the morning, so I save writing and revising for later. That's a very smart strategy. I bought a
yes.
sign a while back for my door that basically says I'm writing because my office is right next to the horror geek's office. Like, you
Mm.
have to go through his office to get to my office, and so and it's nice, he's a writer, we're both home all day, and so but he'll just kinda pop in and say hi, and, the kids are, like, off school for the summer, so they just kinda pop in and say hi, which I love, but also it can be hard to interrupt, with all the interrupts.
Does his office look just like the exact opposite of yours? Like I'm
Yes.
imagining like a dungeon.
Yes, it does. It'd be really funny if his studio was right next to mine because
Mm.
so my office is like light blue and pink and
Mhm.
green and his is like dark manly gray. And he has I've got like slip covered chair and he's got like leather couch, giant television, and approximately 1 million books and video games. And it like his office is just I think it's probably 3 times the size of mine, and it's just miles and miles of books. Yeah,
Amazing.
I know. But yes, the answer is yes, total opposite of mine. So it's funny. At the previous Comic Con that we went to, that he was invited to do a talk, and he was a guest artist. I bought this tiara
Mm.
that's rhinestone skulls. And he was telling me he loves it because it's like the perfect mix of me and him. It's all sparkly for me and skulls for him. So yeah, that's us.
That is
Have
very
you guys have you seen that trend? And this might just be a romance author thing. There was something trending on Instagram where authors were doing like it's very common in romance to like do a social media post that tells all the tropes of the book, and people romance authors are posting about their real relationships with all the tropes, like whether
Oh.
the love or yeah, whatever. So I thought that was kind of, anyway, I did it. I thought it was super super fun, but I have really enjoyed seeing other people's little relationship stories in a single thing. So really cool. Let's see. Rachel says my hubs and I both work from home, and we also own a business together. So I know if anything needs to be handled with that, we'll tackle it in the morning. Hence a lot of interruptions. I totally feel that. Zero. Maya's like, yes, my brain stops working in the afternoon. Maya, you and me, same, same. Love, love, love that. I'm adding some more mysteries and clues to the first leg of my TTRPG campaign. Ooh,
Mm.
that's awesome. Kanasha says my daily word count was last night around midnight. I'm a night owl writer. I was more of
Yeah.
a night owl like early on in my career. Now I
Me
think
too.
from right, I think it's all the years of like dragging kids to school at the crack of dawn
Mhm.
that now I'm now I wake up. We go for a walk and then I'm ready to write.
Yeah.
Getting organized. Yes, exactly. Kudos to you for being able to work with your spouse. Love that. AZ fell. I'm a translator and need about half a page. Good for you. That's phenomenal. What language are you translating to and from? Just curious. Oh, very nice. All right. How many times a week do you gals do these sprints? I find this very motivating and helpful. Thanks for allowing us to join. One, but we do them every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And speaking of sprints, I think it's time for us to do another one. All
Let's do
right.
it.
Yeah, let's definitely. All right, here we go. I know I'm very I think because I've just been like absent for a couple of weeks. I'm very anxious to get rolling today, so that's good. All right, here we go. We got our big timer up. Let me get my chair all comfy here. Okay, everybody, you've got this. It's going to be an awesome sprint. Your brain's just ready to roll. Here we go. In 3. Very nice. All right, let's stop that screen. How'd you do on that last sprint, everybody? Michelle, how'd you do?
Very good. Making some progress.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love that. Love that. Me too. Like like a minute before, or a minute and a half before we were supposed to end, my doorbell rang because I had a ship delivery. And so I'm like
Oh,
running to the front door and running back. So all right, we've got a couple of good, oh, look at you guys. All right. So AZ fell, I'm doing Italian to English for a touristy website. Very cool. Very, very
mm,
nice. Caitlin's here. Hello, Caitlin. Working on outlining today. Fantastic. Gwynna the winner of 259 words. Yeah, that's great. Using the rest of the sprint to get resituated and resupplied with snackage. Yes, important. Very, very important. Excellent. I got pretty far on my presentation. I made notes previously, so I'm now sort of making it look fancy. All right.
mm.
So here we go. Here is the question. Dun dun dun. Is it true that a major publisher won't consider publishing a book that is already self-published?
No,
No, it is not true.
definitely not.
50 Shades of Grey, John
The
Grisham's
Martian.
The Martian, the Grisham's first book. In fact, a lot of publishers use self-published titles that are doing well and make, or not just publishers but agents too, because they figure if you can sell a lot of books on your own without all of
Mhm.
their marketing and distribution power, that they could sell more books for you, which is sometimes true and sometimes not true. But if you do well with a self-published book, then that absolutely does not preclude you from getting a traditional deal. That said, if you do self-publish a book and you want to, send it out to publishers, make sure it sells well, because if it does not, then you're going to be hurting your chances with that book.
Right.
Anything to add with that?
Nope. You said it.
I think this is a really good question. The next one here, one more. How hard is it to get published if you don't have any connections? You want to take that one first?
I think this is relative. I think it's hard to get published, period. And the vast majority of authors, their first book deals weren't because of connections. I mean, yes, you have like celebrities and you have some people in certain circles,
Sure.
but like that's such a small fraction of authors.
Right.
I mean, I didn't have any connections. I wrote a book and then I started querying and I knew absolutely no one in the industry and I got an agent eventually. It took a long time. Yeah, I mean, it's hard, but you're not like that's normal. I
Right.
guess is what I'm trying to say.
It is. I also did not know anyone in publishing when I got my first publishing deal.
And
So,
I
yeah.
I kind of want to add this too. Like, I'm not going to say this never happens, but generally speaking, I don't think having connections is really going to do you any good if you haven't written a really good book.
True.
Like, nobody like it still has to be good at the end of the day. And again, I know there's going to be exceptions out there. There's some
Right. There
that's
always
been
are.
published, fine. But for example, I think I get a lot of people who reach out to me ghostwriting wise, and after a conversation with them, I get the sense that they see who's published me and they think I can like hook them up with the president of Penguin Random House and get their book published. And I just want to be like, dude, that's not how it works. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like it truly does not work that way.
Right. Well, and even, I mean, first of all, even if you're going to provide an introduction to your agent, which I have done in the past,
Mhm.
and when I think about that, sometimes it works,
Mhm.
but often they're like, it's not really for my like, oh, I really like the book. I could see why you liked it, but it's not for me.
Right.
And yeah, I think that I think connections can help, just like connections can help with anything, but I do not think that you need them. And we are proof right here. Both of
Yep.
us got published without, traditionally without knowing anybody in the publishing industry. It is
Yep.
funny though, isn't it? When my first book was being published, I did not know a single other author. They were such rare and magnificent creatures I could not even fathom. And now I feel like every single person I know is an author. it's just the people I hang around with, but
Right.
it's kind
Yeah.
of yeah, right? But at some point, like, that becomes your entire universe. So,
Right.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly. All right. Great question. Okay, so Eva says working on the magic system of my middle grade novel.
Fun.
That's fantastic. So, okay, so why do some agents say they'd only take queries from someone who has connections? Well, here's an interesting thing. So, that is true for some agents, and it's also true for some smaller or mid sized publishers. The publisher where I used to be the director of publicity, Ocean View, has three ways that you can submit to them. The first one is if you are submitted by another Ocean View author. The second way is if you are submitted from an Ocean View employee, and the third one is via a literary agent. So the reason that agents will say, "Oh, I only want a query from someone who, from another author or from another agent," is because they want someone else to wade through their slush pile. It's a lot of work, and if they can go, "Well, this author is not gonna put their name on the line to recommend a book that isn't at least marginally good." So, that's why. Yeah. So, I'm sure there are other reasons too, but for me.
I'm wondering if that's more common when agents are talking about nonfiction, because when you're trying to publish nonfiction, for in a lot of cases, it's your platform is way more important.
Right.
Whereas with fiction, you can be, and I don't mean this in a negative way, I mean this about myself, a nobody. Anybody can write fiction. I don't remember ever querying an agent and seeing them say that you have to have connections to query them with the kind of fiction that
Right.
I wrote.
Right.
I'm not saying it's not out there, but
Yeah,
um,
I have not encountered that as far as actually, I've not encountered that with an agent, but I have encountered, as I mentioned,
mhm,
I've encountered that with publishers. And I
yeah.
think, there's almost always a way to reach the agent if you don't have connections, because the agents want the same thing publishers do. They want to find that
Mhm,
next awesome book.
mhm.
And so I find a way, right? Find a
Right.
way. If they say I need someone to recommend this, we'll find somebody to slap a cover letter on it for you. You can do it. You can make it happen. Really good question though. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it does. But the thing is, don't let anybody tell you can't get in. It is not, the door is not, it's not impossible to get in if you don't know anyone. I know
Mhm.
plenty of people who do not have any, don't have any publishing connections, don't live in New York. They live in a hut somewhere in Bora Bora, and they're like,
Mm.
it can, if you're writing good books, then you can do it.
Yep.
Are you talking about when they're closed to queries unless you have a reference? That might
That's
be some.
different.
Yeah, that is different. And that's just like the slush pile has begun to take over their office and they need a break
Yes.
so that they can catch up. So, yeah, I have had that. I will say, if I ever had, like, if I was ever, the last time I was in the market for a new agent was quite a long time ago. And at that time, when I was switching agents, I'd reached out to several people. But if there was anybody on my list that worked with someone that I knew, I'd ask them to do an introduction, only because it gets you usually to the top of the slush pile. So it can
Mhm.
be helpful. A hut in Bora Bora sounds like right? Yes. Until the hurricane comes. But yes,
Okay.
exactly. All right. Very, very nice. Good questions, everybody. All right. Let's get another awesome sprint right here on the books. I'm super excited about that. I'm really like in such a good writing mood today. Is that a thing? Writing mood?
Yes.
All right. Good. Okay, let me get rid of this banner, which I keep switching back and forth between the comments. Like, what is happening? All right, here we go. Ooh, I rewound it and everything. Oh, that's like an old school thing. I've just betrayed my age. I rewound the video. Okay, here we go, you guys. If you've got a question, feel free to drop it in the chat and we will be happy to answer it. And here we go. Three,
Woo!
2, 1. Let's get writing. All right, here we go. So we got a couple of really good questions here. One of them,
Yeah,
one of them, I'm
sure.
going to need someone to explain to me what they're asking. Okay, so Kanashi, I thought this was such a great question. If school visits, book signing, and traveling are a big part of promoting your work as a published author, does it hurt your chances of getting published if you can't do any of that? Do you want to take this one first? Do you want me to?
I'll say short answer, no.
No.
I really don't think so. I know so many authors who, for so many various reasons, both in terms of like mental health and physical stuff, they can't do those things and they are published. You know, the I do wish publishers were better about this, but generally speaking, they do try to help you find a marketing and publicity plan that works for you, like doing blog tours or, virtual visits, for example. Just
Right.
that's some people don't want to do that, but they'll do the in-person stuff. There's so many options out there that you can customize it in a way. There's always something you can do.
There is, right, and I to me, I think at this in this day and age that that online events are actually more powerful, that you can do more of them and reach a broader audience. But the other thing to remember is that when you do a book tour, you're even though you're out promoting your new book, your
Mhm,
readers are coming out for your last book. And
mhm,
so, right, and so but people stopped traveling as much during the pandemic,
mhm,
obviously, and stopped doing those in-person events. And while I love a good book launch party, I really do. Uh,
mhm,
there are tons of authors I know who never do in-person
mhm.
events, or that, and I go to conferences a lot, but it's because I'm an extrovert and I need conferences because I need other humans,
Yeah, I love
right?
conferences too.
So yeah, so school visits I think are super important, as you have mentioned many times, for for
Kidlit.
younger age, but middle grade books, etc.,
Mhm.
for elementary schools, etc. But you can still do it without that. Good. All right. Good question. All right. Daniel has a good question. I've received an R&R to turn a picture book text into a YA inverse. I don't know what that is. What's a YA inverse?
I don't know exactly. Do you mean in verse, like instead of prose, like it's poetic, like an Ellen Hopkins kind of thing?
Not like a backwards children's book like
Right.
that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How do I
I
write this
thi
efficiently when I have an outline but inertia to write past the opening? Um, Oh, and the out so anytime I'm struggling, I will write an outline. Um, Generally though, if you're stuck, it means that there's some problem for me at least, it means there's some problem with my uh outline. But will you give
Yeah.
us some clarification about what you're talking about as
This is an
far as
interesting one. I'm trying to imagine turning any picture book text into a YA text. Like, that's such a
yeah,
that my question would be, do you share this editor's vision? Can you see it as a YA verse? Because if you can't, then that's definitely part of the
that could be
problem,
the
you know?
yeah, that could definitely be part of the problem. I'm fascinated by this question, but I definitely want more information.
Yeah, me
All
too.
right. Great question from Elle. How should a chapter end with a hook? Should there always be conflict or a dangling question? It depends. Do you want your readers to stay up all night long and be sleepy in their class or at work tomorrow? Then the answer is yes.
Yes.
You do need to have something that hooks them and keeps them to the next chapter. That they just that one more page thing. That's what you are always trying to achieve. So
Absolutely.
anytime you can do that and add an extra question or a little extra bit of drama, that is you are on the right track.
Or a reveal. You might answer a question that is so mind-blowing that they have to keep going, you know?
And they have to keep going, like, "Secret baby, what?"
Look,
Yes,
that's where
absolutely.
your mind went.
It is. You know why? Because I'm working on this presentation, and I was thinking about one of my clients, a woman named, Theodora Taylor, who
Mhm.
wrote Seven Figure Fiction, and she loves a secret baby, and so anytime I think about Theodora, I think secret baby, and every time I think secret baby, I think Theodora. So that's where my brain went, but yes. But I love a good hook. I love a secret baby. Okay, so yes. So generally I think we got that one. All right, fantastic. Gwyneth says they got 522 words, which is awesome.
It
Looks
is
like the
awesome.
couch was killing my productivity. Bouncy yoga balls are life. Yes. I will say when I work on my treadmill, I often get really, really great word counts. Plus I feel
I
good.
bet.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, you're physically moving and your mind is moving too.
Exactly, exactly. All right, I think that we're 12:45, and so I'm like, "Oh, do we do
Yeah.
another sprint or not?" I think we're gonna pass on this one because 'cause we've got so many. So if we have any other questions, I think I have one more. Let me see if I can just track that down. All right. So Daniel also had said, if it doesn't work out with this agent, is there a demand for YA inverse otherwise?
Yeah, that's a very popular, I mean, well, it has to be so solid. You know, it has to justify its being written that way, if that makes sense. I feel like Ellen Hopkins is the 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 one everyone is, you know, that one that you should look
Aspiring.
at if you want to see YA verse novels done really well. That's definitely her. And her books are incredibly popular. Teenagers love it. So if you can do it well, but it's unique and stands out from hers also, then yeah, I think you
That
would get a lot of attention for that.
that feels like such a good opportunity. Well, I remember when the Twilight books were super, super popular. And here's Charlene Harris, who had been just cranking out vampire books for years and years. And she really saw her popularity explode during that same time as
Mhm.
the country and eventually the world sort of became really obsessed with vampire romance books. And so if you can sort of if you are writing in that same subgenre and you can draft a little bit of that other author's success well, then that can be a great opportunity for you.
Yeah.
There's something really spectacular about doing a writing a book where there's a hungry market for it. It makes
Mhm.
marketing way easier. Daniel says, I can definitely see it. The protagonist is a teenager. Her internal conflict can be built up to a YA.
Ooh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, then we got another. I
yep.
don't know how to say her last name. Acevedo? Is that anyway? So
Yes,
yes.
but those are definitely Jason Reynolds also was a great example. Yes,
Hmm.
absolutely. Yeah, there's
Fantastic.
a demand for that. Because they're rare, I mean, compared to, like, prose novels, obviously, but I
Right.
don't think a lot of people are writing them, so that will help you stand out, as long as
Yeah.
you're querying agents who are, like, specifically saying that that's what they're looking for, because it's not everybody's thing.
Right, that's true, and that's true for anything that you could
Yeah,
write and any agent. Your book can be excellent, but if
right.
it's not the kind of book that that agent loves, then they're not gonna be a good fit for you, for sure. All right, fantastic. You are so welcome. Thank goodness Michelle was here on that one because I'm pretty far out of my wheelhouse with that particular question. So it's always good. I love that though, that these different subgenres or sort of sub-subgenres are popping up and finding a really loyal audience. I think that's absolutely fantastic. All right. Well, I hate to end it early, but we're out of questions for today and we're out of sprint time. So I think we're going to pop off 10 minutes early. Everybody can get some lunch and go back to your writing or whatever else it is that you're doing today. I have a baby coming and I'm anxious to get my little fingers on that baby.
That's why your head went to secret
That's why
baby.
I'm like 10 minutes early. Yeah, that's fine. No problem. We can go today. So, well, I was really thinking that I would like to cram in one more sprint, but I just feel like we just don't have time. So,
We did 3. That's really
we
good.
did. Right. I know. We really knocked out quite a bit today. So, all right. What? There's a baby. Okay, I'm out of here, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks so much, everybody, for being here with us. We will see you next Wednesday. Keep writing. You guys are awesome. And please feel free to send us questions either on social media or in the chat, and we will be sure to answer those. Have a great day, everybody. Bye bye. Wait, I have to put this up. No. Bye.
Ending on a cliffhanger.